It's a great pleasure to be here with you all in this colourful demonstration of the anniversary of the 45th year since freedom was stolen from you and your families and your loved ones. And so many people have suffered in those 45 years. Well, I come from the trade union movement, president of the British Trade Union Congress, and leader of the biggest union. I tell you today, the solidarity that we developed internationally is needed more than ever in our assistance and support for our brothers and sisters in Iran. We need to show the kind of solidarity that the determination of the Iranian resistance deserves. I send my strong support today to those people resisting, to the Iranian people, and express my solidarity with all the Iranian workers in their struggles as we commemorate this anniversary. Allow me to also send my best wishes to all the members of the democratic opposition and our friends in Ashraf 3 in Albania, which I have visited, and where we had some wonderful experiences. It's the beating heart of the Iranian resistance for democratic change. And also the brave members of the resistance units themselves who are destroying the wall of repression in Iran. I'm sure that you and the Iranian people will be seeing at this rally today the remarks of the speakers and the determination of all those who attend to ensure that the message gets out, and in particular the opposition TV broadcasts this rally to the people in Iran. The factors that sparked the 1979 revolt persist to this very day. It's clear that the Iranian regime is facing a crisis of legitimacy amid ongoing opposition. Mass arrests, executions, and warmongering are the regime's responses to the legitimate demands for change from the people. Even as workers are not even being paid their salaries and cannot make ends meet despite often working multiple jobs, the regime spends billions on the IRGC, on regional terrorist proxies, nuclear weapons, and ballistic missile programs. As a result, in Iran there is economic crisis, massive inflation, and unnecessarily high unemployment. And what should be a rich country with people having a high standard of living instead is made poor by the incompetent running of the country by the present regime, which feels comfortable in prioritizing the IRGC, domestic repression, and destabilizing the region because it banks on our government's illusion that political and diplomatic recognition of the regime and its strategic interests, combined with economic overtures, will incentivize Tehran to moderate its unacceptable behavior. This is pure appeasement, and it has emboldened regime officials to commit serious crimes with impunity, expecting promotion rather than prosecution. Our government must now accept this failure and revise their Iran policy with focus on human rights and democracy and on cooperation to empower the Iranian people and the resistance, the NCRI, and President-elect Madam Rajavi to overcome the regime. And if not with the present regime in 10 Downing Street, then with the incoming Labour government, we will pursue these policies. The head of the snake is in Tehran. This is now the international consensus and assessment of our government. It must therefore act accordingly and not stand in the way of a new revolution in Iran, which will decapitate the head of the snake in Iran. And the government can do that by urgently proscribing the IRGC. It's subjected to sanctions by the British government, but that's not enough. We want the total proscription of the IRGC. Ban these terrorists now! Furthermore, the UK must unequivocally support the Iranian people's struggle to overthrow the regime and acknowledge the courageous fight of the rebellious Iranian youth against the terrorist IRGC. In this regard, we recognise the brave resistance units affiliated with the NCRI for advancing the uprising against the regime and applaud their courage to bring the fight to the IRGC. Finally, the UK should lead allies and partners in an international coalition to impose further sanctions on the regime, on the ailing Supreme Leader Khomeini and the murderous President Raisi, and to provide diplomatic support for the democratic aspirations of the Iranian people by publicly backing and engaging with their legitimate organised resistance, the NCRI, and by officially endorsing their democratic alternative presented by Madam Rajavi with her 10-point plan. Now more than ever, we need the Iranian people and their resistance to succeed in their fight against the regime in Tehran. A new revolution in Iran is in our interest and is the desire of the Iranian people. The UK and the West must not stand in the way with their inaction, which will provide the regime with a lifeline. The UK must stand with Mrs. Rajavi, the Iranian resistance, and the Iranian people in rejecting and isolating the regime in Iran.